Hello, so I just want to do a vlog update on the editing and sound design. These are areas I feel I haven't really covered too much yet, and I think it would be helpful for me to provide a bit of clarity because this does have quite a bit of bearing on the series Bible and my vision for the overall web series concept proposal. So I think firstly with editing, it's something I've done quite a bit of. I always enjoy it. I've always referred to it as the adult version of playing with Lego. I love playing with Lego as a child. I think there's something very therapeutic about taking smaller blocks of stuff and then creating whole other worlds and realms of imagination from them. But anyway, with Eyes, I very much designed it from an editor's point of view, right back even before I wrote the scripts, from when I was first planning out the storyline and the type of world I wanted to base it in and the rules of that world and the various levels of reality or realms as I refer to them in the series Bible. Because Eyes, as a web series, won't have a huge budget. The larger concept of it needs to be expressed through the film form, so how the material is put together, so to speak. So that's how you get past not having a budget. So you could film it in the real world and it will have a fairly real representation of reality, but as soon as you get into the editing seat, start playing with the sound design, you can take that representation of the real world apart and reassemble it into fantastic realms of imagination, and so to speak. So that's what I mean by when I'm talking about the film form, about how I assemble representations of reality, pull them apart and create surrealistic representations, which is the vision I always had for Eyes. So I designed it from an editor's point of view. The scripts I wrote for the pilot episode, I think I've broken a bit with scripting conventions with that script. That was for two reasons. Firstly, time. I just needed to get it done, so I've never written a script so quick in my life, really. And that goes for all the drafts. Just trying to get it done as quickly as possible, while also trying to make it better at the same time. And second reason, again, from an editor's point of view, I was trying to save myself time at the scripting stage, because ultimately I was the director, I was going to be the cinematographer. I didn't have to worry too much about adhering to regular scripting conventions, so I could really ultimately what I was trying to do, I was trying to present in the script how I saw the final edited product. And that was really to firstly ensure that I had enough coverage for editing, because that's one of the main complaints you always hear editors spout, is they don't have enough coverage to edit together what they want to edit together. And secondly, to save myself time, because if I already had it mapped out in the script how I was going to edit it, then that was going to save time. Saying that, I have now that I have edited the second rough cut, I've diverged quite a bit from the original script and reworked it and change a few things, which is annoying because I was trying to save time, but at the same time it's good because it's definitely improved as a result of it. It's a much stronger and clearer idea now, and certainly much more in line with what I'm talking about in the series Bible and my vision for the overall web series concept. But that's fine. Any editor will tell you that any editing stage, that is when you remake the film, so to speak. And there's the whole ratio. I can't remember if it's either 80-20 or 60-40, but they say that the majority of filmmaking is spent in the editing suite, in post-production. And certainly that's what I've I have done with Eyes, and one of the reasons why I'm not submitting a final cut, because I said this with my reflection with Matt's project, Remember This. I could have very easily have put something together and called it a final cut, but it wouldn't have been a final cut. It would have been terrible, basically. And why rush it? I'd much happier just submitting a rough cut and then admitting it's a rough cut. Why pretend it's anything but? And by doing it that way, even after the module, I can keep working on it and turning it into something that's really good and something I'm quite proud to show off to employers, to people, so to speak. So I think that was my reasoning for it. And with editing, as I say in the series Bible, I see the pilot as an audio-visual Rubik's Cube, so to speak. So it's really, as much as I present everything you need in the pilot for you to understand the story, and I get you some of the way there, but ultimately it's up to the viewer to assemble the different audio visual elements together and to work out the narrative of it or what is actually going on. And hence why I've called it why it's called Search Me, so you go back and look at it again. And and really that for me sets up the template or the style for the overall series, that it is just a huge puzzle made up of smaller pieces that was much more interactive because of that, because it will require the spectator to participate more into deciphering the overall story and meanings of it, which is exactly what I love, so I'm glad I've achieved that. But in regards to the sound design, equally so with the sound design, I consider it to be 50% of the finished product, and I consider it to be equally important as the editing. And really, that's why I got Daniel on board, because Daniel he takes his work very seriously. He's quite an unusual temperament, which I liked. I mean, I often refer to Daniel as the sound version of me. That is a little weird, but that's good. I'm not having a go. But I mean, if you look at his project, I've embedded it on my blog. A machine to listen to the sky. It's reason why I agreed to film it for him was firstly to pay him back for doing the sound design of my project, but also generally because I wanted to be a part of it. I thought it was absolutely crazy what he was proposing, but I said, yeah, if you think you can do it, I'll gladly help you. So that's certainly why I got Daniel on board, because he has this great way of thinking unconventionally, and he doesn't necessarily think in the same way that a storyteller thinks. He thinks more in terms of artistic expression, which is what I needed, because there's a whole layer to the overall concept that needs to come out through the sound. It's like I was saying in terms of the budgets, because web series, they have next to no budget, so really in order to suggest a more fantastical element, you need to do that through the film form. So as I've been doing it for the editing, you also need to do it for the sound design. And any sound designer will tell you that the sound is 50% of the final product. You watch anything, television, film, web series episode without sound, it's a completely different experience. In fact, it's not even, you lose interest. So I think it's definitely important. I'm glad I've got someone who really knows sound and doesn't really know what the story is about at the same time, which is kind of where I was coming from. But it's about deciphering it and trying to figure it out. So that approach is definitely interested me. So hopefully everything I've said here in relation to what I've already written, already reflected on and put in the series Bible and the pilot episode as well, will all come together to make some semblance of logic. So it's all good.